What's up, you guys? So I had this opportunity the other day to tattoo Tiffany Jenkins. I don't know if you're familiar, but she has a Facebook page where she posts really funny videos and also just inspiring videos because she's been walking through this path of recovery all while taking care of 3 children, married, and if you haven't seen her page, go check it out. But she has this cover-up that she wanted to get done. I got to tattoo her just the other day, and during our consultation, we went back and forth and talked about our stories of recovery, and we just realized there was so many similarities there. So I asked her if we can film the session, so we did, and here it is. Well, cool. So first off, I really appreciate you coming in, and I'm gonna start. Are you cool with that?
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
And thank you for having me. I am very excited. My friend was telling me about you, and my jaw hit the floor because it was right after I got another tattoo. It was okay, but then once I saw your work, I was like, oh man, I think I need to go get a refund. Like, I feel like that I got cheated. But yeah, I love what you do, and I think it's incredible because we have similar stories. And I didn't even know that.
When I was, I guess, like in middle school, maybe a little before. So my parents divorced originally when I was 7.
Same.
Okay. And then, yeah, from the divorce, I started kind of overeating and indulging and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of the first time I was like, oh, like, well, looking back, at least, it's not like I knew then. But I look back, I'm like, wow, like that was the first time me trying to kind of fill this void with something external.
Yes.
And yeah, it was just a bunch of sugar. I'd hide sugar underneath my pillows and, you know, stuff like that. Just like I loved having my food. That was like what I ran to at that age. And then, you know, I actually ended up gaining a bunch of weight because of that.
And getting bullied?
Bullied real hard, yeah, through middle school. You know, like pushed downstairs and like books shoved out of my arms and stuff in front of everyone in the halls. So like, you know, I guess that kind of decreased my self-worth even more. And then progressed to like high school. I dropped some weight, you know, got my first girlfriend and everything. I'd say that's even my next addiction. It was just women, you know, feeling that validation. And then around the same time, I began smoking pot.
Dude, this is tripping me out. Not to interrupt you, but I swear it sounds like you're telling my exact story.
Really?
That's so trippy. Keep going. Sorry.
No, you're good. That's wild. So yeah, I thought I made it. Like I found the solution to all my problems. You know, like this was it. And you know, the same guy I got my weed from was the same guy I got my Xanax from, and you know, I just progressed through all different pills and stuff like that until I stumbled across opiates, you know, Roxys, Oxys, and all that stuff. And yeah, I started tattooing probably like 3 months after I got sober, and I got sober April 10th, 2012.
Okay, hold on. So back up. So how long were you like actively addicted to pills and living that horrible lifestyle of desperation and stuff?
I started using the pills around 15, 16 years old. And then I got sober a week before my 19th birthday. Now, in between those years, you know, I think, only 3-4 years, I was sent to a juvenile facility for, I believe it was like 6.5 months.
Really?
I was arrested, gosh, I want to say like 5 or 6 times for different, you know, selling and distribution, possession, burglary, like all stuff like that. And then I ended up, like I said, serving that time for 6.5 months.
It's crazy how quickly it happens.
Oh, it just spiraled out of control so fast.
Yeah.
You know, I began willing to do anything and everything for those substances.
Yep.
And, you know, I know that was part of your story as well. you ended up, getting, like, stealing firearms from you?
Nice segue, just casually.
Go right into that.
You ended up robbing a bank and murdering people, from what I understand. Is that part of your story, Tiffany?
Well,
I'm just kidding. It's public record, first of all. And also, I talk about it openly and honestly because, like, that's the crazy
depths that it brings you
yes.
to, right?
That, and there, I wouldn't have stopped there had I not gotten arrested.
Right.
I'm not joking. Like, I would have, there's nothing I wouldn't have done. I was addicted for like 10 years and same exact thing as you. Like, food, my parents got divorced. I was left on my own a lot because my mom was working, and food was my number one drug of choice. Like,
Yeah.
and I started gaining weight and getting made fun of, and then
Very similar.
yeah, hearing you say it was like crazy to me because I ended up developing like a sense of humor because, none of the boys wanted me and nobody wanted to be my friend. But I found like when I made fun of myself first.
Then you were liked. Or...
Yeah, like nobody could make fun of me. It felt like I got one over on them.
Right.
During my addiction, I thought it would be a good idea to like get into a relationship with a deputy. Because I'm like, this is exactly what I need to get me to stop doing drugs.
And now that was when you got sober. Like, you went to rehab.
After,
got
yeah.
sober, and then this was during a period of sobriety that you ended up.
Yes. After my mom died, I checked myself into rehab with the trust fund money because I knew that I would end up dying with that money because I was doing pills. It wasn't like at the level where I was desperate though. I capped myself at 2 per day. They were only $15 at the time, so I could afford it. $30. Like, it was under control at that point.
At least you thought.
Right. Yeah, and then when I got out of rehab, I was smoking weed and I was drinking, but I wasn't doing the pills, so I thought that I was okay. But yeah, so this deputy was super sweet and super nice and so loving and wonderful and kind, but I was really sick, and so I ended up hiding my addiction from him for 2.5 years. And ultimately ended up stealing a bunch of his stuff, including guns.
Wow.
It's not funny. It's nervous laughter. I'm a piece of crap laughter is what it is.
It's hard.
What was your turning point?
Yeah, so when I originally got arrested, like I was telling you, and got sent to that program, that was probably one of my lowest moments on what I did for the substances. I was snatching purses.
Yeah.
So I ended up snatching a purse from an older lady and got caught for that and got sent away. And, I'm glad I did, but I ended up actually relapsing after that time, and I went back out. And it was like I picked up right where I left off, and I ended up going much deeper, much further. I ended up using heroin, ended up injecting. So it progressed really quickly. And then for the next, it was about a year, that run. And, the girl that I was with began stripping and all that, so we split up. My car got impounded, so I didn't have that. My mom kicked me out because I was stealing everything from her. And, I was 18 at this time. I was still pretty young. And she, I pretty much got to this point where it was just me, my syringe, and, the only friends that I had were the type of people that would steal from you and help you look for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
that was me. I was that friend.
Yeah. So once I got to that point, I just reached this point of like, oh my gosh, like something needs to change. So I picked up a phone, I called my mom, and I was like, hey, I want to get clean. Like, I can't do this anymore. And she's like, I've been waiting for this phone call forever. And then she called around, got me into a treatment center, and it was good because I think with my story, with my everything that I went through, I had several attempted suicides, several times where I almost died. I got arrested. Like, I went through kind of all that, but all these external things, like, almost wasn't enough to stop me. Like, I had to reach that point inside where I was just so broken that I was like, I gotta stop or else I'm gonna die. I guess even death didn't scare me though. Like, it was more so, I guess, the loneliness. Like, I got to this point of just yeah, being all by myself and having nothing, where I was just like, what am I doing with my life? Then I started going to halfway houses. I went to several different halfway houses.
In the area? In here?
No, it was down in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and during that time, while I was in halfway, that's when I began longboarding around from tattoo shop to tattoo shop until I found a place that would apprentice me. So now your husband comes from the same background too.
Yes.
Where did you meet him?
LOL. So I met him the night he was graduating rehab. I was like, he's the one. It's fresh out of the pen. We would go there and visit a family member who was in that same rehab.
Okay.
And he was there. And like that family member was like, yo, that guy over there has a huge crush on you, Paris, who's my sister. And so I'd make fun of her all the time. But then the day he was graduating, he was giving his commencement speech, and as somebody who was also in recovery, the way he talked about, God and his mom and his daughter, I was like, oh my God, I love him, Paris. You better make up your mind, because I'm pouncing. And yeah, we started talking that night, and then he knocked me up while we were living in the halfway house, and the rest is history.
So you had a baby in early recovery. How was that? Like, how was it kind of going through all that?
It was really great, actually. So just like under 2 years, I'd say, in recovery, my son was born. But the thing is like my son was 6 months old when I found out I was pregnant again.
Oh my gosh, so 2 in early recovery.
Yeah, and then 2 weeks after my daughter was born, my bonus daughter came to live with us full time.
Wow.
So in the span of like 2 years, I went from being single to a married mom of 3. And it was super intense, man.
I bet.
Especially.
So do you think that helped drive your recovery, or do you think it made it more difficult?
Both, probably. I had a good foundation of recovery when I got pregnant and stuff. Like I was already on a great track. I knew what I wanted. I was feeling really strong. Sorry. The words are leaving me because of pain.
That's a pain.
I'm trying to be philosophical, but I'm also trying to not focus on the pain.
Well, I think that's what I found now, having my daughter. Like, she's one of the biggest driving forces now in my life to continue to seek growth and to continue to, of course, not just stay sober, but I think what I've discovered through the path of recovery, or through my journey through recovery, is that drugs and alcohol are just the tip of the iceberg. They're a symptom, not the problem.
Right.
And I'd say now, having my daughter, like, she just continues to drive me along with my God to seek to find those other hidden avenues or symptoms, I suppose, to the underlying problem within my heart,
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
People pleasing and codependency.
Oh
and
my gosh.
All these other ways that, like, I guess my addiction or whatever shows its face.
Everything you said, I agree. You're the smart one right now in this situation with good big words.
Well, you're the one being inflicted pain on, so I think
good big words, many smart brain. But I think that having gone through something like addiction and come out the other side, I feel like, and I'm not trying to say it in a braggy way, like, it makes you a better person, I think, than it would have otherwise once you go through recovery and the steps and you work with a sponsor and stuff, because not only do you learn how to be a productive member of society again, but you learn like to be accountable for your actions and to take responsibility and to be kind to others and empathetic.
Sure. Yeah, I just really appreciate you coming in and being willing to do this and to share with me your story, you know, and what all you've gone through your recovery.
It's so nice to talk to somebody who gets it, to understand. I feel like when you meet somebody who's in recovery, it's like you know each other on a deeper level, even though you don't. Just knowing that they've been through something similar, you know.
I agree.
My kind of people, so I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.